HE to do it, and sometimes you might see artillery. In fact, we can see Hyber here has a Lorraine. That is to reset, so he'll probably sit around A2 or so to reset at the A8 corner, or A7, excuse me.
Exactly. So this is game number 1 on map number 1. We have Tornado Rocks in the red on the offensive, Kazna crew in the blue defending. So as you can see, there are 2 cap circles labeled 1 and 2 in the circles. Those are the things that both of them have to be defended by Kazna crew. Tornado Rocks has to capture 1 of them or kill all of Kazna crews. If they don't do that, they lose. So if it's a timeout, they lose, and if they all die, of course, they lose.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see here, but both teams have brought a tier 8 Armageddon here in his AMX 1394 Tornado Rocks, and he'll just be scouting on the hill, trying to figure out the Kazna crew positions. And Kazna themselves are just spread out. They're looking for where Tornado are going to approach from. You see they have a TD there at C6. He's there ready to see if there's any 2-cap pressure, and the Lorraine Arty will deal with that.
Right, so one thing we want to do while they're setting up and they're going through these tactics, let's have a look at their tanks and see what they've done. So we see here on Tornado Rocks, remember they're on the offensive, they've brought 3 113s. What sort of role are they going to be doing?
Well, the 113 is very quick, and it's also very, very well armored. It's very fast. You can think of it similar to the IS-7, only it's got much better mobility to the IS-7. So it can be used a little bit quicker, it can flex back and forth. And you'll see the 113 actually quite a lot, not just on Himmelsdorf, but on other maps too. It's very quick. It's you know, similar to a bruiser kind of role. It just gets in there and it can move around quickly.
Right, so if you guys see a 113, it could be playing a bruiser role. Remember, these guys can be playing different sort of styles. So a tank that's adaptable, like the 113, could be playing different roles in different maps. You never know, but we'll keep you informed of what's going on there. They've also got 2 Waffenträger Alpha E100s. What's their position? How are they going to add to the team?
Well, the Waffle acts as a fleeting being. It's got so much power that it can just come out and clip another tier 10 and it can be destroyed just from 1 clip. So it's more of a fear factor. You don't want to push into this area because you fear that the Waffle will be there. It can also snipe down lanes and deal a lot of damage to pushing forces. So if they don't have enough cover, it's...
Are they playing with HE?
Yes, they're shooting HE at each other, but yeah, it's because they're side scraping. There's no pennable shot.
Well, what was that shot that hit him? They've got no artillery. What was that?
It might have been the Waffle, but I can't see if Lasik has a shot. I don't think he does, but it could have been a Waffle through the streets. It's difficult to see because a 113 certainly can't roll that high with HE.
Right, well you see that there's Gunner is dead. Is that a damaged gunner or a gunner dead? I think it's a gunner dead, right?
Yeah, it looks like the gunner is dead, which isn't good. Which, if you can see that the gunner is dead and not repaired and it's this early in the battle, it's a strong indicator that he's probably... Oh, you can actually see that he's running rations over the medkit, which is a choice. Because these have full skilled crews, you often run rations over the medkit because you have the skilled jack of all trades.
Yeah.
The 113 is very, very prone to fires, so you want to keep the fire extinguisher on there.
All right, so let's have a look at where that could have been. You see Diodor is in the FV 4005. We hadn't been talking about him. He was on the hill, so there's a good chance that he was firing across from there. I'm not sure if he could get the angle, but
it probably was.
Has to have been him, I guess.
Yeah, obviously we don't have all the camera angles, but I would imagine if it Diodor on the hill with an FV, that's what it's there for, to deal a lot of damage with those HESH rounds.
Yeah, we hadn't got to that part of the list yet, so like I was like, hey, there's no artillery.
Yeah.
Big explosion, I didn't know. Okay, and lastly they have Armageddon, the AMX 1390.
Yeah, he's just a scout on top of the hill to give information. Obviously, whenever you're playing any map, regardless, intel is the most important thing. You need to know where your opponent is so that you can make movements. And that's exactly what Armageddon's role is going to be. He's going to be up and down the hill between the 0 line and try and figure out. And in the later stages, you might see him come in and use that clip.
Oh, I was hissing there because Eurofish was going forward. And Eurofish is the guy with the blue eyes, by the way, on Kazna. Went out and he could have died there. That could have been the end of him. Now, let's go through Kazna's lineup. So we now know what Tornado Rocks are holding, what they are using to attack this layout. Defense is a whole different ball game. They've got FE215Bs, 3 of those. How are they into this strategy? How do they fit?
Well, FEs have many different roles. They have very high DPM and a very reliable gun. So they can put out a lot of damage and also make it count because it's got a very, very good gun. The FE also has 2,500 hit points and it's got relatively good armor, specifically on the turret. So the FEs will be there to just deal with tanks very quickly. And focus fire is very deadly. You can see Armageddon's gone on the cap here. So basically this is why the Lorraine Arty's been brought, and that's to splash out Armageddon so that they don't have to push into the hill here where you see Diodor lying in wait.
Yeah. Right, so now we've gone through the basic tanks, because apart from the Lorraine, which you said at the beginning in the bat chat, which is basically a bigger AMX 1390, now let's start talking strategy. We just wanted to introduce you guys, if you didn't know, the side stream, we're taking it a little bit easier, but we're going to tell you exactly what's going on step by step. Ease you in it like you've never seen esports before. And as we get ramped up, we're going to go full board, don't you worry about that. So, what is Tornado Rocks' plan, and how are Kazna fighting against it?
Well, their plan is to draw Kazna into them using Armageddon as bait. He's going to sit on the cap. Obviously, they'd love a successful cap, but at some point, if Kazna are unable to use Hyber to reset with the Lorraine artillery, then they're going to have to push. And that's not what they want to do, and that's exactly what Tornado Rocks wants them to do, because Diador's lying in wait, their Waffle's already moved up. But you can see that they actually haven't moved much of their southern force, and this might be to initiate a flank after they know that Kazna have committed to this.
Yeah, it looks like they are trying to push Diador off that corner using artillery. Then they're repositioning Elian, and oh, but he gets hit in the side by a double shot there from the Waffenträger, but that was not a good exchange, right? In fact, he died. So that was a great ambush there from Kazna crew. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they exchanged half the HP on the bat chat, although it looked like he'd taken damage, but here it doesn't show he's taken any at all. So I'm not sure what happened there. I think the interface is not working.
Well, you can see that, you know, the point there was that Kazna needed to get the reset, and they did. And you can see just how good the FE is, even at firing on the move. They came around and they hit that Waffle all together, and they did a ton of damage, and now he's gone. So that's a gun out of the game, whereas Kazna still haven't lost a tank, although the Schnitzer is very low on his FE 250, 2449.
All right, yeah, but they got a lot of punishment as we were going through all that. So now we see that Tornado Rocks are in a bit of a pickle. We see a fight going on right now at A0, as we have the FE 4005 from Diador going head-to-head with, I believe, the FE from Elian. And oh, boom, goes the dynamite. Elian loses that fight, and Diador comes out the victor, still with just a bit over third HP. So this is looking okay. Like, neither team have completely lost it. What do you think of the positions?
Well, the position is very interesting. Obviously, Kazna have been forced back into the top left corner of the map, and you know, you can see Tornado are trying to put pressure on the one cap. It's very interesting because they have, you know, quite a hit point lead, but they've not got a general lead. You know, they're not in a great position. Kazna still have 2 minutes to burn, and that's not a lot of time for them to do things. So Lucic just took down Eurofish. Vetso takes down Lucic. So you can see here that it's just a brawl.
Yeah, the brawl is absolutely everywhere. Vetso is actually down on one hit, but they've managed to easily penetrate the single tank that was there, the 113 in the open. Our camera angles today are really hard to work with. Positive and Dynamo in the open trying to make something work. They got to get Vetso before, well, Diador just had the shot at the back. He has a huge reload. They need to go in and actually do something right now, because Kazna crew are really low. They want to be able to break out and get away. And the only advantage they have is that Diador has a really slow reload.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Kazna crew because, you know, the Batshot's on the reload is now down. Nexus is on almost no hit points. Stefan has 105 and is reloading, so it does not look good for Kazna in this first round.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It was I don't know what happened there, but we couldn't see what was going on, and I kind of lost the plot. But Kazna crew did lose the first game, and it was a defense. So the first thing we need to do is talk about the offensive, how that actually went down, because I got a little bit lost. I was trying to see what was going on, but the shots were happening off screen, and I wasn't entirely sure of the maneuvers. Were you watching the mini-map? Were you able to pick it up?
Kazna had initially spread down along the railroads. They had a 113 down there that you saw took the big HE hit. They were just trying to basically spread out, cover that cap while they had the Lorraine Arty ready and waiting with the tank destroyer in case that was put pressure, which they did. They put the 1390 on.
Yeah.
So initially that was okay, and then, you know, they had an issue because the 1390 went on the cap. So they withdrew from the railroads and came back up towards the other cap, and they had to push because they couldn't get the reset on the 1390. So their only option was to push him out. If the RT can't do it, they have to do it. And that's what they did, and they took down the Waffle. And it looked okay at that point for Kazna, but I think they just took a lot of damage, and I think Diador was allowed to do far too much.
Yeah, if we saw the stats from that battle, I believe it got them, Diodor must have done a lot of damage because he not only took out Elian, who was at max HP, I believe, or pretty much on his own, came around the back, took out another tank, and I believe he got one more shot off as well. Oh, right at the start, he took the shot from the hill, likely, and did all that damage to the 113. So that was Yulfish. So, I don't know. I think if anyone could be say like what won them that game, that FV is in the right place at the right time, doing the right damage.
Yeah, you have to say Diodor did a lot of work in that game, and it can show what that tank can do with its Hesh rounds. It's more accurate and a slightly better DPM than the 183. It's a very similar cousin, and it can do so much work if you allow it to do so, and they did.
And they did. They let it have the hill, and with how tall the tank is, it was able to get the shot on Yulfish in the 113, and it killed his gunner, which is not good. I mean, yeah, you have jack of all trades, but it's only working at 75% efficiency, not 100%, and you lose the individual skills.
Yeah,
so it's not great.
It's not a great situation,
no.
And you know, at the end of the day, it was a close battle. They only had 2 minutes left, so unfortunately for Kazna, they were very close in that game. But I think a lot of it came down to the Diodor's positioning was too good. They perhaps didn't think that he was going to do as well as he did, and it was an underestimation they'll live to regret.
Yeah, they gave him the map, and this is one thing with the defenders, right? If you're defending a map, and if you played any sort of organized competitive World of Tanks, a lot of the time people play a defensive strat. And by defensive strat, I mean they all sit in A1 or something. They all sit in one corner of the map and defend. That gives the attackers the entire map. And if you know how to attack, that's the winning. Like, they will never lose against a camping team that are just sat still in one area. A good offensive team knows how to use that map to their advantage.
Yeah, map control is very important in this game, and obviously along with that, intelligence. And pretty much Tornado Rocks figured out where they were. They had the 1390 to figure out exactly where Kazna crew were. He did a really good job at spotting, and they were able to adjust accordingly. They knew exactly where to put the pressure on Kazna crew in order to make them come back and fold.
Yeah. So we hear that the next battle is ready and about to go. So as you know, it is battle number 2, still on map number 1, and it will be Kazna crew on the offensive. Currently, they are down 0-1 against Tornado Rocks. So let's see how they can perform. Here are the lineups. We have Positive FC Dynamo and a random player without his name, all in the more brawly tanks. We have the FV215 and the 113. We have Lusik in the AMX-50B, Vorsik, that's how you pronounce it, in the E3, Diodor in the E100, and Armageddon in the IS3.
Yeah, these are actually very interesting lineups, and you can see that Kazna have done the same thing, and they've taken the FV just like Tornado Rocks had done on their attack. So it'll be interesting to see if Nexus can do just as well as Diodor did. It'll be very, very interesting to watch that. You can see that they've also gone with the 3 FV215Bs again. So, you know, a little bit different lineups, but you know, there are similarities here. You can see the 1390 from Hyber as well.
But they've deployed it very differently. The FV4005 isn't taking the hill. It's kind of like they're setting up an ambush point in the K-line.
Yeah, it's perhaps that they're trying to bait Tornado Rocks into thinking that they're in the north along the AB line, sort of that area. In the meantime, that they can just sit patiently at K7 and then move up and flank them without them expecting it to be there. Obviously, you know, an FV, if it gets a tank from the back, that could be full hit points and a lot of fantasy points. And you know, it's going to be really interesting to see just how Nexus uses his FV versus how
Oh, there you go. There's the first time we've seen a handbrake turn. Hyber just did the classic go around the corner and scout, but he tried to use a handbrake turn so he doesn't show himself for very long at all. So he came out, popped out to see if anyone was down there, and then get in. We've seen other matches where someone's gone down here, and there's an Alpha Strike waiting for him. There's 3 or 4 tanks looking up there, and unloads and destroys whatever tank goes out. So Hyber just did a handbrake maneuver. It's the first one we've seen trying to scout down the A-line. Yeah,
with those new physics, you can get away with quite a lot, and he's obviously done that he's probably practiced that maneuver quite a few times, because it's not something easy to learn with the physics exactly how you need to do that. But you can see here that the FVs have moved down, so I think what they're doing is they're trying to get themselves lit. The IS-3 there from Armageddon is there to spot that push and also hit Alpha. The IS-3 does have the BL-9, so...
Yeah, and Vorsig in the E3, for anyone who doesn't know, its turret is pretty gnarly.
Yeah, without a shot on the lower plate, your chances of actually penning an E3 are not very good.
I believe there's a couple of tanks that can do it. With high explosive to quite a significant bit of damage.
Sometimes you can pen it with heat but on the,
it's not reliable at all.
Yeah, they used to have a viewport weak point, but it was almost impossible to hit, and I'm not sure if it's still there. So you can see Armageddon is just there basically to spot if he can.
If anyone wonders why they're using an IS-3 instead of maybe another tank, the IS-3 just have more hit points. That's really why they used it. It's quite fast, has a lot of hit points, and Hyber's going for an exchange?
No, what he's doing is he's trying to move up to the capsule. Exactly. So as you can see, Tornado didn't bring an artillery piece. So
yeah.
The IS-3 is an expendable tank, which is why it's there. It's ready to go and take a shot, and if it dies, it dies, but at least it's an IS-3 and not a tier 10 you're going to lose for it.
Yeah, and we see that he is in positions. If you want to know why their names are in gold, gold means they're spotted, and the other team can see their position. And this is a 15-meter, some regions call it X-ray, other people call it proximetry. It's a proxy scout, which means Armageddon and Hyber can see each other because they're just near each other. It doesn't matter that it's through a wall.
Right, they don't have line of sight, but because they're so close, they're able to see. You can see actually Vorsic here doing a very interesting maneuver, trying to get himself up. I hope he doesn't get stuck. And what he's trying to do is he's loading HE to try and reset the 1390. It doesn't actually matter if he does no damage, but as long as he damages the tracks, he'll get the reset.
That's right, and he's actually can easily exchange with Elian and how do you pronounce that? Zernichter. I saw the lineup and I didn't see his name, so I didn't practice it beforehand. But there you go, it succeeded, and Hyber does get reset, but Vorsic does take a HE shell and a little bit of damage. So that's why I think they can whittle him down, but this is not a favorable exchange. And look at the minimap, guys. The entire Tornado Rocks is coming back, but, and this is the big but, Kazna are still separated. There are still too many of them in the K line.
Yeah, you can see that they have only one heavy tank on the D line, obviously, to watch that lane to make sure they don't come up there and shoot. But, you know, 3 tanks still down in the south. They have 5 minutes, so the trap can still work. They're not as pressed for time. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to make this work.
Yeah, I just don't know what they're doing in the south. Like, I'm a self-admitted noob. Like, I don't know the higher strategies. I can only tell you what other teams have done beforehand, and I can tell you what I see. But what I see is 3 tanks completely unable to do anything in the south, while they're doing a maneuver that's very risky in the north that the entire Tornado Rocks is there to do something about. So this looks like a very, very dangerous situation for Kazna Crew as Elian and the other FV go forward.
Yeah, you can see that Hyber is actually doing quite well with the cap. He's got it down to 42, 40 now. And they're trying to HE the tank and try and do damage to it, so or at least splash the tracks to reset, and it's just not working. These FVs are here to protect, and here comes IS-3, and there's the reset.
Yeah, that's not good. Hyber's been reset. I think they should bottom. They should get out of this. They need to go right now. If they don't move Hyber out and Elian, they're going to get surrounded, but it's going to be close. It looks like Kazna might be back in time. Oh, but Vorsic is actually starting to get whittled down with Yorfish here as well. All these HE shells are actually doing some damage, and the E3 is slowly whittling away. Yeah, they're slowly getting him down, and you can see now that both Kazna and Tornado Rocks are all in this general area. Kazna know that they're just going to have to commit to all of this, or the IS-3 will continue to reset. They cannot afford to waste more time with this cap. They cannot, but they have 4 minutes left in the game. They are on the offensive, remember guys, so if that timer hits 0, they lose. The Kazna Crew do not want to be down 2-0 after the first map, so here it comes. This seems to be their play. They have all their tanks now in the north. In fact, all tanks of both teams are within 1/4 of the same place. Vorsic still being sieged by Elian and Sneichner. I will have to find out how to pronounce his name, the other FV, but they're not making too much progress, and Hyber gets reset again. This cap will not work, guys. You need to do something else. Elian's losing a lot of HP as well. It doesn't seem like it's working out for him. Yeah, I think the hope here was to actually try and defeat the E3 enough that it would eventually be down, because then all you have the IS-3, and if the IS-3 pokes, you can put an FV in front of the 1390, which is probably what they're going to do right now. Yeah. But obviously this is why they didn't want to be here now, because the E3 is still alive, and these FVs will not stand up to it. And there goes the IS-3 at least. The 1390 goes with him, but the fire was on Elian, which means his fire kit is already used, and that puts him in a very vulnerable situation. So I'm not sure if this was favorable at all for the Kazna Crew. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. I think they're going to put everything here on Eurofish to cap, but as far as I can see, they may have to push. It'll be interesting to see whether they can secure this cap position. This is the second position you can really cap safely behind the buildings here at B6, B7. So it'll be interesting to see whether they just try and shield Eurofish and try and defend the area, or whether they go for a push. 2 minutes 30, they've got to do something, but Vorsic is really low. He's within 1 shot, maybe 2 if it's HE and doesn't fully penetrate, and there's another shot from Elian. He's really trying to, these 2 players are top of their regions. Elian, well known, and Vorsic also incredibly known in CIS, but here we have another battle going on as Diador gets ambushed and Earlfish goes down 2,100 within a second, and he goes absolutely wrecked as he was in the circle. That was not good, but the HPs are very similar on both teams. They are really close in HP, but it's the 2 minutes I'm more worried about. Here comes the maneuver on the back as Diador's trying to block Positive, and he succeeds. He took his life, but that was a conscious maneuver. You saw he moved out instead of back as Positive is trying to get away. Can Kazna catch him out? They got Lucic. It looks like it's going to go really well for them, especially as the 113 comes out in the open, but Vetso is cornered. Can they get another shot onto him? No, they decide instead to poke at the FV. It looks like they're going to try and rush this. Castro ran out of time. They're going straight in for it. They want to focus fire on Positive, but Dynamo do not want to let this happen. Look at Nex's HP. He got the shot. He wants to not be the focus. However, right now, his HP is going to go way before his reload, and this is it. Kazna crew have got the advantage. Dynamo's the last one left. He can maybe kill Vetso, but watch this shot from the FV. If it gets to reload, this is going to be the explosion. On his weak spot, in the rear, ready, steady, click. There we are. There we go. Kazna crew bring it back. In fact, we were talking about defense being the advantage. Both defenders lose.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly can depend on the map. As long as you get some kind of control over the cap areas, you can force the defender to you and reverses the situation. But absolutely incredible brawl there at the end we saw, and it was just crazy to see. And the FV again going out there and doing some work, so well done to Nexus there as well.
I saw so many little things that were done. I think both teams were doing roughly the same plan. They were, well, in the brawl. Beforehand, you saw the plan, as you said, the E3 was getting whittled. Didn't seem like it was going Kaza's way. I personally felt like, hey, you should back off maybe, get out of there and go from a different direction. But you were like, no, it's okay. They're doing fine. And I think if Tornado were more confident and they knew, they didn't know that there was 2 tanks in the south, right? That's what they didn't know. If they knew that, they would have gone in, right? They would have just rushed it and wiped it out.
Yeah, it must have been quite spooky as if you're Tornado and you're calling for them. You must think, well, where on earth are these other 3 tanks? We've not seen anything. So that's always at the back of your mind. You're thinking, where are they? I'm sure Kazna wanted to set up some sort of trap, but it probably worked in its own way anyway.
Absolutely.
But at the end there, you could see they tried the cap multiple times, but it just wasn't working. I think they needed to get the E3, and they just couldn't get the E3 out. But it still worked out in their favor in the end.
Yeah, it was strange in many ways because the reinforcements from Kazna came quite late. But then Tornado were very, very cautious. And on that, 4 line, they were, I say 4 line, they were able to fight in the, Colin, help me, D-line, isn't it?
The D-line.
There you go, D-line.
Yeah.
I was like, the 4th one, what's the letter? I've been studying Russian. It's all messed up my brain when it comes to letters. Anyway, the D-line, they come in and they surrounded the 2 tanks that were coming round as flanking. Their eyes were north, like you said. They didn't know where the ambush tanks were. They were pretty convinced they were in the top right, in the northeast. And so when they came round to flank, oh dear, the main force of Kazna were there and they got wiped out.
Kazna moved up, and actually when I saw Eurofish go down, I thought, oh no, this is going to be quite difficult for Kazna, but they were able to keep their guns in the game. You saw just how good the FV is because they had 3 of them. They came out and they did a lot of DPM. Fortunately, Eaglian, despite taking a big hit from the E3, did survive, so he was able to do a lot of work there.
Here we are. So what do you guys think of that game? You in the audience have had your first experience. The first game was a bit confusing. We had some technical issues, but everything sorted out. The second game was much easier to follow. Now, both teams took very similar lineups, but they played it incredibly different. It couldn't have been a more different playstyle or execution of playstyle.
Yeah, you can see here that the FV, again, we had just so much damage from the FV because of the DPM, but also the other FV, the 4005, almost 2,700 damage with just 3 shots. I mean, it's huge. So it's very important to see that. You can see that obviously the IS-3 actually did quite a lot, 1,000 damage in a tier 10 game. It was quite useful. So he did a lot of work. I don't think Lucy got enough.
It was all against the 1390, right?
Yeah, but it was all resets as well, so they were very important shots.
Very
so it's a lot of damage for a tier 8 to do in a tier 10 game, essentially, and to get those resets was so important because that's exactly what he was there for.
Yeah, and he did it way more successfully than I thought. I thought he'd have one chance to reset.
Yeah.
But because he was counting the reloads, he was like, okay, they fired at the E3. Okay, they've both fired. They must be in reload. I'll go do the reset now. He was being very cautious with his resets. He wasn't just going, okay, I gotta go. But that's enough for the last battle. We're now going to map number 2. So this is battle number 3, map number 2, Kazna crew versus Tornado Rocks.
Yeah, and this is going to be really interesting to see how many mediums we have, and it is quite a lot. You can see both teams have brought an E5, one with 2. That's Kazna. Again, with the FE215B from Positive, that's going to be a sniping sort of role there he's got. And it's going to be interesting to see how the bat shots are played, because you can see quite a lot of bat shots, and we'll be interesting to see just how aggressive they are from Kazna crew. They have the AMX-30s. Those are good at sniping, and they've
really
got
good.
Yeah, they've got really good
gun
depression. Yeah. So you can see also that, Tornado Rocks, a little bit of a different approach. They've got an STB, a 140. Both tanks have good depression. The STB very good. The 140, okay. And then they've got the 1390 for scouting.
So we got here totally different roles, very similar tanks. Now what I want to really focus on is these E5s, right? Both teams taken E5s for this map, attack and defense. So explain the difference between the offensive and defensive E5s. Is it the exact same role on this map, or how are they playing?
Well, the E5 is your traditional jack of all trades. It does everything. It's very, it's pretty quick. It's not super quick, but it's quick. It's frontal armor with the new HD. It's so very good. It's very difficult to pen. It's not got any side armor, but frontally, very good. And obviously, it's got a lot of depression, so it can come over those hills and play them really well.
That's the important thing. All the American, or most American tanks have really good gun depression, but you really got to look at that AMX-30. That's its thing. It's really good at poking over these hills and doing the shots. And that's what we were talking in the pre-game. We were talking about when you're really good, and we're talking Gold League good, you just know where to go on these maps to just get the best out of the tank. You know that if you take this tank with 1 degree more gun depression than the last tank, you could go here instead of there. That's really the thing that separates the pros from the want-to-be pros. Yeah,
these teams will theorycraft everything. They'll go through the maps and be like, oh, what can we use? Where can we push people up? Where can we use this tank in this position? The level of detail is really astounding that we'll go into this and they'll practice this over and over again. So it'll be interesting to see where they use these AMX-30s and see how well they can use them. Hopefully they're used in the game. You can see that, Armageddon's pretty much spotting that whole line himself. So, and you can see the 1390 there down for K9 for Tornado Rocks. And he's just there to see if there's anything coming from the forest there.
Yeah, this is, I'm really wanting to know what those batches, they're in reserve. Those batches are clearly a reserve ambush force, right?
Right, exactly. So if these E5s get pushed while they're trying to cap, the batchats will come in, swoop in, and they'll just have easy side shots. They'll just clip in, and that's what they'll be used for. There's 3 of them, so...
And it's a group up there. Watch G4, everybody, because that's the grouping. That's the main force of Tornado Rocks. But don't take your eye on the far right, that AMX going through the secret jungle, the magic jungle, and is gonna run head-to-head with, I think, Vetso over there? Yeah, it's Vetso. Vetso in the bat chat. And there's reinforcements. The AMX has been spotted coming around the back, and here comes the action. Vetso's been spotted. Lucic hasn't, though, and Lucic's going to be able to fire, but Vetso knows he's spotted.
He's got superior camo, but Vetso will know exactly roughly where he is, and he will either run or he will come after him. I think he's retreating. I think the issue Vetso sees is that if he's lit, then they know they're attacked down, and he has to come back, which the bat chat is very good because it's very fast.
But the first damage goes out and gets high, but I think Vorsic managed to get that shot off, and this is dangerous because the AMX-90 can go a lot of damage if it's getting the weak spots. The gun is not that great at penetrating from the front, but definitely for other ways. We have Yorkfish in the AMX-30 on the left there against Positive in the center. Damage so far, pretty even.
Yeah, they're pretty even on hit points, so there's no real way to determine who's got the upper hand here. You can see that Kazna have been forced off the cap because of the level of pressure Tornado Rocks have put onto that. And these backshots here, the AMX-30 is really the only great tank to be in that position. The backshots don't want to sit there for too long because their guns aren't good enough to snipe.
Yeah, exactly. They're not snipers at all. They will go in and skirmish. Hyber seems to be making a really aggressive play here as he's moving in, and Elian with the other E5 are going to try and do a flank, but it's really hard to see what's going on in the middle here as both sides are being attacked. Elian's really much in danger as he's going to be able to be taken out, but watch the ambush force as the bad chats are going in. They're the ones to watch. If they do well here, Kazna crew are going to take the game, and if they don't, they can lose it. But both E5s are being taken out. 1 HP, it's gone. That's a disaster. Kazna crew can only only recover if their Batchat's still amazing. That's the first death there for Tornado Rocks. And as they come in, Stefan is being pushed back, but he's down to one shell anyway. He needs to get it off and go and reload, and there it is. Dynamo could be killed in the open, and he does. It's a bit of an exchange, but Tornado Rocks are 1,000 HP ahead. They are on the defensive though, so I still give them a slight advantage, as the Batchats will need to back off now, reload and come back later. But can they get away? Lucic doesn't want to let him. He's in the AMX 1390, but he takes Vesso out, and he's going to make sure Stefan doesn't. But they're like, you know what? No more play for you. You're out. AMX 13 from your fish takes him down. But Stefan, he needs to survive if Kazna got any hope to get into this game again. He's alive, but this is the opportunity they're going to do to take him out. I don't think Tornado Rocks can lose this game now.
They would have to do something amazing to lose this game. I don't know. Obviously now you can just see that's it.
The biggest play of the game we missed, unfortunately, because they had the camera too close into the E5s, but that was it. The E5s was ambushed. They went forward to try and get shots on the right. I don't think they knew the guys were there on the left. They came in, surrounded, both of them died. That's just a disaster.
Yeah, Kazna may not have known that Tornado Rocks were that heavily invested, which perhaps was a critical mistake there. And you can see that those E5s just got absolutely annihilated. And they're good tanks. They've got a lot of armor, but when they're being shot from all directions, they just can't angle against everything.
If you're going to do that, you need IS-4s or something with armor all around. Yeah. E5s, once they've lost their frontal protection, they're pretty easy pickings, really. There's a lot of HP.
If they're caught out, it's game over for them, unfortunately. And I think part of the issue was they were just a little bit too slow at picking up what was actually happening, and I think that push with the Batchats needed to happen a little bit quicker than that for it to save the E5s, perhaps.
Absolutely. That sort of ambush was... Yeah, that was the turning point, right? Like, the Batchats were coming in, they were going to do the damage, but the E5s died way too quickly. So the ambush there from Tornado Rocks won it. I'm not sure if I can call it a mistake from Kazna, but it was definitely the advantage was gained by Tornado Rocks, right?
I don't think there was much that Kazna did too wrong. I think it was more slowness in the build-up where they just didn't react quickly enough, whereas Tornado Rocks were right on it. They exactly noticed when the E5s were pushing up, we've got our advantage, let's go. And
the advantage of the 1390. The 1390 not only spotted Vetso and kind of spoiled the positioning of the Batchats, made him panicking like, oh, I gotta get back to the team because now they know my tier 10 is not where it is. Then he comes in and like, haha, I got you. And he actually kills Vetso later on in the game by surprising him on his retreat.
We may never know exactly, but it could have been the fact that because Vetso was lit, he may have not thought it was just the 1390, but the rest of the mediums from Tornado Rocks.
It could have been.
In that situation, that may be why the E5s pushed up. If they think that they're going through the forest, then the E5s push, and then they can win that flank. But they didn't know it was only Lucic who was able to survive and do quite a lot.
Yeah, we see a lot of damage here is very much biased, obviously, because only after one battle you're going to see the team that won with the most damage dealt. But the damage from Lucic's AMX 1390 was against tier 10s. And that is fantastic damage.
Yeah, 1600 from a tank that, you know, is just there really to scout is really incredible.
But the AMX 30s tier 9s as well, doing a significant amount of damage.
Well, yeah, you had Eurofish who was able to do 2300 damage, which is, you know, quite good for a tier 9 in that kind of game. But you can see here that the E5s were both just not enough damage, and they were there to soak up shots as well, but they just didn't survive long enough to do anything.
Yeah, that's it. That's the way that cookie crumbled. Now, an update from the main stage. If you're interested in that but haven't got two screens able to watch both, it is currently 1-1. They finished their first map, and Hellraisers versus Na'Vi is now 1-1. So they both won either their attack and defense. But it's a draw there, and we'll keep you informed of that game if you just want to know what it is and not necessarily watch it. Over here, though, it is currently 2-1, and I want to stress again for the guys who've just joined us, don't be too concerned when it's 2-1. It's not an advantage until the map ends, because either you lose your attack or you lose your defense, you get revenge. You get to play again, but from the other way. Whether you're attacking, you're now defending. So if you lose both of them, then you're at a disadvantage. Only then.
Yeah, you'll immediately switch, so it's not like you have to run a strat twice or have to completely come up with a new strat in order to defend twice or to attack twice. So you're going 1-1. So it'll be interesting to see how Kazna turns this around.
Yeah, exactly. As we see on screen, it's 2-1, and Kazna didn't do bad on that last battle. There's no obvious difference in these two teams. They are playing both supremely, and they're playing very good. In fact, I would even say they're playing very similar. They're both playing with a bit of delay, a bit of like reaction slowness, but I would say so far Tornado Rocks is more in command of the strategy.
Yeah, it's very close. It's very difficult to pick someone that's really that much ahead. Obviously, you have Tornado who are 2-1, but again, as Kazna, they went 1-0 down, they came back. So who knows? It's very close between the two teams. So it's really who can get their match sharpness. Obviously, these teams are playing now for the first time for a while, so they're getting back into their groove. So their speed may pick up.
Now, one thing we have to say is first to 5 victories. So it's a best of 9. So first of 5 battle wins is the way it works. So if both teams get to 4, then they play a tie-off where they actually check to see who was the better attacker, and that person gets to pick whether they attack or defense. But we're ready now to play the second battle on Muravanka. Let's go in the game and have a look at what tanks they've picked. Well, we were told that anyway. Maybe not. They're still looking at us, so I'm interested in seeing what tanks they have, but we can only guess they're going to have the same lineups again. Here we are. Okay, so 4 Batchats for Kazna. You guys wanted the Kazna to be aggressive. On the defensive, they decided to go crazy.
Yeah,
I want to say bat beep crazy.
Yeah, and it's more likely to happen now because Armageddon is in that artillery, which is basically in, unless he gets a really good shot on a move, is not going to do much if he gets YOLO'd. So it will be interesting to see exactly how Kazna do play this. Hyber's here just to try and get the information that he can. You can see the Tornado are quite spread out. Their role will be to slow play with artillery. They want to slowly play things. They can spot what they can and see if the artillery can do some work.
Well, you saw here the objects and the TVP, including the E5, all went into the forest. They said, like, okay, they could do a rush. Look at the lineup. They could easily do a rush. We want to meet them head on. And they spread out enough that they have a good enough force to deal with it. And also the Batchats would have been able to support. But nice shot there from Yulfish doing the opening damage against this unknown player.
Yeah, he was just trying to do an active spot, and he was just caught out, which is a really good shot from Eurofish considering the SCP-1 gun is not that reliable. You can see here that they know they're lit and they're trying to blind fire this 1390. They know he must be there to spot them. So they're trying to get blind shots, but of course they're taking damage here, so they have to be very careful about how they do this.
And they have to also be careful, and I'm going to say Kazna have to be careful, because if they're doing these sniping shots with auto-loaders, there could be a chance where their teams are not going to be ready, but they're not. It's the E5 and STB that are firing. If you look here, all the Batchats are still fully loaded. So it looks like Kazna are really trying to provoke Tornado Rocks into thinking, okay, they must be somewhat unloaded. Let's do something or risk it, because Kazna are defending here. You wouldn't believe it if you looked at the lineups, but Kazna are defending.
Yeah, with the Batchats, you don't want to waste their shots unless you have a guaranteed shot, because then you have to reload or you're down a shot.
And it's a long reload, right?
And of course, when Tornado Rocks will know, if a Batchat's fired at them, they'll know that this tank is now down a shot and he may be reloading, which could trigger a push.
And they will definitely be counting. There's no way that a team like Tornado Rocks wouldn't be counting. They're going to see the shots, hear the shots, and they'll be able to hear it and say, okay, that was 1, 2, 3. But with this many autoloaders, it's impossible to be able to tell.
It'll be very difficult, yeah. But if they feel a lot of shots are coming out from the Batchats, they may wait a couple seconds, and when nothing happens, they'll think that they may have triggered a reload and then begin their push. But you can see here, they're going along here, and Dynamo is spotted by Hyber, so it'll be interesting to see whether Hyber decides to stay or bail. He'll have to hold his nerve if he wants to stay, though.
Yeah, he's been spotted, which means that they... I don't know, man. That's a huge... Look at this, Tornado Rocks. I think they're nervous. I think they did not expect this lineup from Kazna, and they're really a bit scattered. I just said before, their first 3 games, Tornado Rocks seem to have a really solid plan. Like, they always seem to be in control of the strategy, and then only when things went wrong on him was stuff did they lose it, because their strategy didn't work. But they always seem to know what they're doing, and Dynamo just gets hit by the... This is what the Batchats are all about. He burnt a little bit, but his fire extinguisher didn't help him as 2 Batchats unload and destroy him. Yeah. He got wrecked.
Absolutely perfect aiming from these guys, and now I think that Tornado Rocks think that we maybe have to do something. They can't see anything, and Nexus is now lit, which means he can get fired upon, which is exactly what Diodor's trying to do. But the 1390.
Hyber was spotted, and that was the first damage at all to Kazna crew. They almost killed Diodor and Dynamo for free. I was about to say, like, no one else has been hit. Oh wait, they caught Hyber. Boom, he's dead. But still, that was an exchange worth it, right? Oh, Dino's down to one more hit. Anything breathing on him, he's going to go. Does he get him? No.
He's on the low ground, and he has to now get unlit, which he is. That's exactly what he wants. He'll stay in the back now and try and snipe, not engage until the last minute. But Kazna have done really well so far, and you know it's going to be difficult because they have such a hit point lead on Tornado.
Yeah, they're attacking. Tornado are attacking. This is not what it's meant to be, right? But I can say this, it can still turn, because that artillery, if it hits a bad chat, that's that HP back to 50-50, right?
Yeah, it could potentially do so much damage to a lot of these tanks, but they are fast tanks, so it'll be quite difficult, you'll see. But you can also see here in the north that Kazna are relocating their bat shots along the B line and the A lines, so they're probably going for this flank. Fortunately for Tornado Rocks, they've moved their artillery because he was previously in the north, so he's now perhaps going to be safe. But Diador probably will not be, and whether or not Tornado have the firepower to support Diador from just the TVP alone, I don't know.
I reckon Elian's going to ram him. I've got this gut feeling that if they come into him, they're not going to bother wasting a shot.
They have
and they're
no
just
idea they're next to each other.
They do now.
Yep.
Wait, did he spot them? No, he didn't.
There
now
you
we
go.
have, but Elian
that's
decides
a great
he's not
shot
gonna
by
ram
Elian.
him. He's so good, though. He knew that he had to go down the hill to the left. You saw he angled the tank to the left and went down. And that way, he made sure that he was going to have the shot.
Yeah, it's not easy to tame that gun. The Batshot gun is very unreliable, and to shoot on the move like that is very difficult. You have to get it perfect, and that's exactly what he did. Positive, and now reloading, but that doesn't put him out of the game for too long with a TVP.
Okay. Let's reset this. Let's reset. What do Tornado Rocks need to do to get back into this game?
They have to prevent them from resetting the cap, which is what Positive's doing. He's running in and distracting them, going to try and shoot them. But Kazna are well aware here. You can see that they need to try and get the resets, but that TVP in the back.
Not got enough, though. He's one shell left. That Object 40. Watch this shot from Object 140. If he gets it, that's the E5 down. It looks like
resets.
He doesn't, but this is it. This is all over for Tornado Rocks. Look at the HP drop. This is a grinder as Kazna crew move in and execute Tornado Rocks. This is definitely going 2-2. Kazna crew have brought it back. Muravanka, another map that's 1-1. These two teams are really... Wait a minute. No, Stefan is burning, and he's going to get burnt all up. No, 70 HP left. That was a huge drop. That must have been artillery that took him down. That could turn it, actually, if they are playing incredibly smart.
I don't think it'll make a difference here. I think it's already too late for them, but absolutely incredible. We've got two teams here that are absolutely neck and neck.
Oh man, that's just, the artillery hit him, he burnt, and I was like, wait, he's got no fire kit, and he lost 1,700 from one shot. That was one, that's what they needed, but like, I don't know, 30 seconds earlier, maybe?
Yeah, the artillery just was a non-factor in the game until it was far too late.
Too late. That's the risk, though, isn't it? That's the risk. If you take artillery, you're going to have to, like, he's got to hit that hit. He's got to do damage, because he doesn't provide anything else. And remember this guy. If you have armor, your HP blocked is good. Your HP absorbed is good. All those things add towards your team's victory. Artillery doesn't do either of those things. It doesn't block any damage. It doesn't absorb any damage. It doesn't distract anything. All it does is make the enemy either hide or run, or do damage. That's the only two things
it's got a few roles, and it's really a gamble to bring artillery. And your goal with artillery is often to slow play and get a lot of spotting, and Tornado just did not have enough. Hyber was the one doing the spotting, and that's not exactly what Tornado wanted. They wanted to get the spotting, get the Lorraine artillery in the game, and it just wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, Kazna's meta thinking, this was totally a meta break, right? They were like, okay, they're going to be doing this. We need to like completely prevent it. We need to take the map as the defenders, and they totally did that. And no matter what Tornado Rocks did, they just couldn't get it. They couldn't find a weakness. They poked here, there was bat chats. They poked here, there was bat chats. It was like, what's going on?
Yeah, Kazna played a very, very aggressive defense, and it really worked for them. They just had map control from the beginning with their bat shots and the 1390 doing the spotting, and Tornado just could not get enough control in order to make anything happen. And you could see that they tried with the 140, but the bat shots were waiting.
Yeah, it was, I mean, literally, the opening thing they did, go south. Yeah, let's go south, I could do it. No. We'll go north. We'll find some, no. You'll go center, and well, we die. That's the end of the game. But it must have been Hyber in the 1390, right in the middle, that did everything. They lost one and almost two tanks. In fact, Dido died a little bit later without doing anything extra. So kind of two tanks were taken out. really early, all because of Hyber.
Yeah, you have to give them credit, and these teams will do that. They will absolutely look at every single bush and test how good it is to passive sit a tank there. You can see it on all kinds of different maps, and Muravanka, certainly there's a lot to work with. So
I remember when I was trying to be in silver, and the guy who's now in gold was telling me, oh, I hate this new patch. I was like, why? Nothing really affects us. Like, the things that happen in this patch, the new tank doesn't really affect us. He goes, no, they moved the bushes on this one. And on this map, this bush disappeared. And on this map, they've reduced the camo rating for that bush. And I was like, they do that?
Yeah, the devil's in the details, really, and these teams will look and check every single map and just see where can we put tanks, and specifically when it comes to spotting, just how good each bush can do. And obviously Kazna will have checked that and put Hyber in that position. They will know he can sit there and stay unlit. Tornado did try to blind fire, but they just, no luck.
It's a little secret for you guys watching, right? You guys are in the know. Everyone else doesn't have a clue. But not every bush is equal. They're not.
Not all bushes were created equal.
There's some are really bushy and thick and you can't see through them, and others that are thin and might as well. I mean, have you ever looked through a bush, right? You're walking past and you can see right through it. And other bushes are really dense and there could be a kid hiding in it and you're like throwing you tomatoes and you don't know where he is.
Yeah, really the spotting mechanics in the game, obviously, you know, if you want to spot in a bush, you can sit in there and it'll give you a maximum amount of camo. You can sit behind it, but then you don't have the 360-degree defense of the bush in terms of the camo value. So, you know, Hyber was there, and the 1390's got a really good camo rating. Very difficult for Tornado to spot him, despite trying to blind fire.
Yeah, we see the stats here, but unfortunately the one that is the assist damage. That's the one we really wanted to see. But there we are. So the next battle is going to be coming up any second now. But just remember that this is best of 9. So first to 5 wins. It's getting closer. It's 2-2 right now as we go into map number 3, battle number 5 in this titanic match between Kazna Crew and Tornado Rocks. We're on steps.
Yeah, and here we go. We see Hyber is in the Lorraine artillery here. And he'll be crucial in this to see how well he does. You can see that Tornado Rocks have actually gone quite heavy. They have 4 113s, then 2 140s and a 1390. 1390 obviously to do the spotting and a little bit of damage if he can manage it. Whereas on Kazna's side, we have 2 113s, 2 140s, and 2 bat shots with the artillery piece. So lots of different lineups, and you can see that the 140s are brought over 62As or other Russian mediums because they have that extra degree of depression, and the 113s again are just really solidly armored and very quick.
So let's go back to our trying to translate these strategies. We have 4 113s, 113s on Tornado Rocks. They're definitely bruisers, right? They're going to be going in there and doing the damage. Like they're going to be going in first.
Yeah, they can do that, and they can also hold a position very well as well.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they're definitely on the defense, so they're going to be trying to hold it.
Exactly. So the goal here for you know, Kazna here is to spot these guys and use the artillery to its maximum, because otherwise it's a wasted tier point. If it's not going to do anything, it shouldn't be there. So we'll have to see how good Hyber is at artillery here and see if he can carry his team.
Yeah. So the thing I want to watch here is obviously Kazna are very mobile. Even the Lorraine is mobile. If you guys don't know artillery very well, that Lorraine 15551 is very mobile. And that Vortex shot did hit the, you got to learn that name, the 113 driven by the German. And in fact, he's in the open. He's in really bad position there. And
he was in the middle road and he was too high up and it got lit. You can see where the 1390 is there. He's there to proxy slash normally spot them. So Lusik's position is very important. You can see that they're moving up with the 113s through this middle road. So it'll be interesting to see if we actually get a brawl, because Kazna are up there as well.
I want to see someone fall over. I really do. I want to find some guy who takes a corner way too hard and falls over. But Yourfish took 242 damage. Must have been the AMX 1390 for Lusik doing that damage. But what a shot against the unknown player in the 113 as he loses half of his HP in total. But Yourfish is surrounded. He's getting picked out by the back from the 1390. He doesn't like that at all, but he knows he has to look forward still. And he's trying to ask his teammates probably, what's going on back there? But it's too late. That entire mobile force is coming in.
Yeah, you can't do anything about Lusik in that position. It's very difficult. It requires a big push. He's not shootable unless he comes really far up. And you can see that...
Oh my god, the damage on Dido. They're going to go in with Nexus around the back. He's going to finish them off, or is he actually on reload? No, he's not. But the damage return to Nexus is not good. They need to make something, because Kazna's HP is dropping across the board. And if these two guys don't win this battle, they could be in really big trouble. It's that 1390, 113, and Optic 140 is coming from the back, but Dynamo gets hit bad and gets put on fire. His fire kit is gone, and this battle in front of you is getting played out as we expected. Stefan goes round for the kill, but he wants Yulfish. He doesn't get Yulfish because Hyber in the artillery takes him out. He doesn't get it. They move in now. This could go either way. I thought Kazna were out of it, but they're not. Elian's surrounded. Lucic in his 1390 doesn't have the gun depression. Can he finish him off? Yes, he can. Look at these 1390s doing a lot of damage. They're able to take this out, and now Kazna all together, but only 1,359 HP left. They might not be able to pull it back, but they have 4 guns against 3 with an artillery. They can still do this, right?
Yeah, they have to settle things down and get into safe positions as fast as they can, but Tornado Rocks aren't going to give them any breathing room, and Hyber really needs to land a big hit here in order to bring it back in Kazna's favor.
Well, we got to be careful because all of them, you can breathe on any of these combat tanks and they're going to die. 2 of them are spotted. Dynamo gets hit once, but it's too much. They take out Stefan. Yulfish is going to get poked by Positive, but Hyber could take him out. No? Yes, no, Hyber? Are you reloaded? Where are you looking, Hyber? No, too late. Okay, there's not going to be a counter-attack by Hyber, and that means it's just Nexus. They're on the offensive, so a miracle would have to happen now for them to win this. Hyber spotted. He does the shotgun attempt. It doesn't work. GG, and it's again one up by Tornado Rocks, 3-2. And I just, wow,
yeah.
Really?
Kazna really needs to reverse this trend because obviously they can't keep this up, but well, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, obviously the artillery again was not. We haven't seen artillery between either of these 2 teams be able to do anything at all, really.
Yeah.
And it needs to. If they're going to keep bringing it, it has to do something.
Right, we have some questions from the audience. We have. Do you think Nexus was satisfied to die after 1 full clip, or that was just very bold? I.e., he was assuming that he would die, but 1 clip was worth it.
Nexus in the previous game on Steps.
I'm guessing so.
I mean,
but okay, let's just talk in general. Do you think you're satisfied to die after 1 clip? Is that
if you're in a back shot, 1800 is okay, and it's more important that you use that clip to deliver a blow to an enemy and hopefully be able to kill them, which is why the back shots are often in packs together, is in order to eliminate guns from the game. On the scheme of things, 1800 probably isn't what you want to do. You want to maybe do a little bit more than that. Oh, 2000, excuse me, not 1800. You want to do a little bit more than that, but 2000 is the average hit points for tier 10, so it's not unreasonable. But really, their goal is to take out guns and tanks that are alone or easy to pick off.
I think the best rule of thumb for an autoloader is 1 clip is acceptable, 2 clips is good, right? And any more than that is ridiculous. But if you get your full clip off twice, you've done your weight in gold. If you get 1 full clip off all penetrations, I'm talking, or maybe with a 6 clip 1 miss, you're okay. You're like, you didn't let the team down, but it really, we're talking stats. It really depends on the map, the positions, the strategy.
Yeah.
It's not as black and white, but it's a good rule of thumb. Like, if you get 1 clip off, you did okay. If you get 2 off, you did good. And so always aim for 2 clips.
Yeah, it can really depend on the tank. When you're in a Waffen Trucker E100, you really want to get that full clip off. And a TVP 1 clip is not good enough. You need to do more than that because the 1 clip does not do a lot. It reloads fast and it does the damage quickly, but you have to be able to get that 2nd clip out in that. The Batchat 2000 is pretty acceptable.
Right, so 2 things I want to go through as we're looking at the damage on the screen. Guys, if you've got any questions, make sure you message the mods or talk in chat, and the mods will pick them up and throw them to us if they think they're good, and we will try and answer them for you whenever we get a break. Anfield here knows a lot about tanks, and you can get questions directly to us if they're about the games and they're sensible. The second thing that I want to stress is we didn't ask you who you wanted to win. I guess we just assumed you wanted Kazna to win, but I never actually asked you. So guys, flood the chat. I want to see if we have more Tornado Rocks or Kazna fans. I really didn't ask.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see actually how many we know. I mean, obviously this is the NA stream traditionally, but obviously we've got 2 EU giants clashing here, so it'll be interesting to see what you guys think and whether you want Kazna or Tornado, or who do you think will win? So let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Spam it. I want to see the spam. I'm watching. When I'm looking down at this, I'm watching your chat. Kazna. Straw poll? No, I just want you to flood the chat. It's more fun that way. Kazna. We're going into battle number 5 on Steps. It is currently 3-2 to Tornado Rocks. They're in the red. They're on the offensive. Kazna in the blue defending. Look at these lineups.
Yeah, it's completely different from what we'd seen previously. So these teams have very different strategies for the other sides, and the other team did. You can see here the Aliens in the Leopard 1, a very quick tank with very good depression and a good gun. So it'll be interesting to see how it does there.
So rare as well in these games. You don't see it very often.
It doesn't have a lot of DPM. It's a very big tank. It gets ammo racked a lot, so it doesn't have as many qualities as some other mediums, but it does have some very strong few qualities. It'll be interesting to see if Diador here is able to do well again in that FV, because on Himmelsdorf he certainly did very well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also interested in Lucic in the RU. I love the RU. RU was like my favorite tank when everything was tier 8 and I was playing it all the time. It's got such good gun depression and camo and speed. It's just really fun to play. And you don't get to see it as much, but it's got great DPM for its tier, right?
Yeah, it's got very good DPM, and it's, you know, one thing that will really help it on steps is the depression that the RU has over, say, a lightweight or a 1390. So it'll be interesting to see how the RU does here. It has... They'll probably mostly use heat rounds, I suppose, against these tanks. So that's a little bit different from the APCR, from the T54 or the 1390.
Yeah, heat rounds, if anyone doesn't know, don't really normalize, and at any sort of high angle, they just don't penetrate. And any sort of space armor will also make them not penetrate. They seem like they have ridiculous penetration, but in reality, they're way, way harder to use than AP and APCR rounds. And for people who think the APCR round ruined the games, well, actually, there's still a lot of armor. Even with APCR, you're not penetrating. There's quite a few shots you've seen do not get through. And you've talked to the pros, a lot of them actually say that armor, or the randomness of armor, is actually makes the game more random and less skillful. So if you took it back to AP, you would actually get way more randomness than if you're in APCR.
Well, a lot of... the reason you drop AP in a lot of cases for APCR is because you want to mitigate that RNG factor as much as you can. Yeah. APCR is also the faster round, which helps a lot. When you're hitting shots on the move, you want the quicker round. APCR I prefer to heat personally, because heat is a different mechanic entirely.
Ever since they changed it with the T69s back way long ago, heat is just not the same.
Yeah, it's a good round against certain parts of armor, but oftentimes it's just not good enough, especially when tanks are moving and you hit their sides. So Lucic is just taking a quick snap there to try and see.
Yeah, there's a lot of probing, a lot of pushing, but you see here Tornado Rocks are staying together in two distinct packs. You have the Object 140, the Bad Chat, with the FV 405. But why would they put those guys together? They seem like really very different styles of tanks.
Yeah, I think basically they're looking at putting these 113s over the rail tracks, perhaps, and maybe pushing up there once they have more intel from Lucic. You can see, though, that Kazna are completely split, and I think that's quite interesting to see what Kazna decide to do, although they are moving now a little bit. But right now, all they have is the Leopard and the 113 to hold that ball position. Now, the Leopard, of course, in Alien has to basically spot. If he gets lit, all he has is this small rock to protect him, so he has to watch his angles very carefully.
You know, the interesting thing about Alien, they often put him in the hardest position to perform because he's considered by many to be their star player. So they always put him in actual harder positions because they say, well, I know you can't be the most effective there, but no one else can do it. Like, if anyone else was there, they would die early on. And you'll see many times they use him as, like, not the suicider, but the role that should be a suiciding. Like, he does, like, crazy dashes across fields, and he's the only one that would make it. So they send him, which some people look at and go, that's crazy. Why would you send your star player to do stuff like that where they could easily die?
Yeah, I mean, Elian's a fantastic player, and what's great about Elian is that he's good at so many different things, and he's very consistent. I would say, you know, Kazna will put the pressure to carry on the likes of Stefan, while Elian has the more critical roles in terms of, you know, spotting or perhaps initiating pushes and things like that.
Complicated roles. The first damage has been dealt, and it's against Positive by Kazna Crew. Remember, Tornado Rocks on the red, they're on the offensive, and Kazna Crew defending the bases, although you wouldn't see it by looking at the map, because then there's more red around the blue bases than there are blue.
Yeah, Kazna are just going for the role of spotting along the one cap, while their most pressure is to defend the two. So basically, they're preventing Tornado from going to the two cap. If they try to cross that open field from the middle, they're continually getting lit. They will be shot up by all the mediums, which is a lot of DPM to have to deal with. So, you know, Kazna right now have map control. Now the question becomes whether Tornado can do something that forces Kazna to make a move.
Yeah, this is it. When it comes to defense offensive, the team that's playing the offensive, it will probe. You'll see them prodding the defense here, prodding it there for the first 6 minutes. That's what that part of the game is. It's like the early game. They will prod, and look for weaknesses. And the defenders have to keep rotating and making sure there is no weaknesses and adapting to the prodding. And as soon as you see the all clear, the attackers go. Or they run out of time. It gets to about 2 minutes 30, and they run out of time and go, okay, everyone got together, let's go for it.
Yeah, right now they're just looking for information. Obviously, information is the most important thing. What they can see on the map gives them an idea where the enemy is positioned, and that gives them openings. You can see here that Tornado are now beginning a push in the south, and this is right as Kazna have moved to 140 right up to the north. So this may not go well for Kazna. They could get trapped between two different forces here.
They really could.
It's actually two different flanks.
Oh my god, here it goes as Eurofish goes in with Vetso, Hyber, Stefan. They're going to go for Armageddon, but the force is there. The ambush is going. Will they kill Armageddon in time? Yes, they do get him, but they're taking a lot of damage. This isn't over yet as Vorsig and Dynamo are trying to do the damage, but Vetso is alive. He's still got ammo. They're going to get Vorsig too. It is a pylon. Jump on more tanks on Dynamo. Take him out. This is what they need to do, but Tornado Rocks, how can they get out of it? They need to get in there and do some damage. The FE could do something if he can pick someone off, but Elian is looking at two different directions. The RU is trying to get out Lucic, but that was a disaster for Tornado Rocks, but exactly what Kazna Crew needs to do to make it 3-3. So remember guys, this isn't over, but Kazna Crew really need this as the FE does fire and do a lot of damage and wipes the Leopard one off the field. Now this is the reload they need. If Kazna Crew can't wipe this up during the reload, it looks like they can. That was getting scary at some points. Kazna Crew look like they're going to equalize as Dido tries to run away with this massive gun.
Yeah, it was an absolutely amazing brawl you saw there. And what you have to give credit to Kazna is they focused so well coming into that middle lane there, and now it's just clean up for them, which is, you know, I don't know. I mean, whenever you have an FV, it can one-shot another tank, but then it's out of the game, so they should be able to clear this up, although Eurofish needs to make those shots count because he cannot take another hit, but Nexus takes out Diodor, so the Demon Monster is gone, and they can begin to finally clean this up and bringing it back to 3.
Look at that bouncing on Eurofish, right? Did you see it? As he was, the new physics is amazing. I still want to see someone fall over, but that's it, 3-0. Wow. Okay.
Yes, it's insane. What will be really interesting to see if Tornado go back to 4-3 and we're back to square one, or if Kazna can take the lead in the next round. Yeah.
That's the question. That's the question we're all looking to see. So, wow, I don't know. It seems to be back and forth, but this is the map where this is going to matter. So this next map is the decider. If it's another 1-0, it goes to the tiebreaker. Can you remember the tiebreaker map for this one? It is in the rules here. I'll quickly look at them as...
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we've got a situation where no one wants to lose 2 rounds on this next one because that's it. Obviously, first to 5, you're out.
Himmelsdorf.
So, and Himmelsdorf again, so it'd be interesting to see who can, or what, if there is a tiebreaker, who gets what in terms of that as well. So close between these two teams.
Wow. Anyway, the current update on Navi versus Hellraisers is 3-2, I believe. So if you're wondering what's going on the main stage, it's currently 3-2, and Navi are playing out of their mind on Himmelsdorf. So if you want to know what's going on there, by all means, pop over and take a look. However, we've got something exciting going on ourselves, considering it's been 1-0 every single map here, and we're going into our 4th map very soon to find out if we're going to go for a tiebreaker on Himmelsdorf or if we're going to decide it with someone going 2-0 for the first time on a map.
Yeah, I mean, almost, you know, it might be positive for the team that comes out of the tiebreaker, because then you think in future matches, if they have to play another tiebreaker, we've done this before, we've got the experience, we have the confidence. You don't want a tiebreaker, but if you do... But
you've forgotten. You only get 2 points for a tiebreaker win.
No, I know, it's not guaranteed. You don't want a tiebreaker, but if you look at the tiebreaker and what positives can we get out of these 2 points, well, we've got the experience now.
Yeah, okay, if you have to have 2 points, you have to have 2 points, but
it's not the end of the world.
I mean, this group is pretty gnarly. In fact, if we got some moments, we could throw up the group stage and see what's going on there, because I think that these guys, although they've against Eclipse. It's Eclipse the 3rd team in this group.
I believe so, yeah.
It's Eclipse in this group with them. So a tie is probably the best thing for Eclipse. If you guys are Eclipse fans, that's what you want to see here. You do want to see it go to tiebreaker.
Exactly. You want your opponents to drop points wherever possible.
Yeah.
Because it puts less pressure on you to perform. So
I'm trying to think of the scenario where that would actually make a difference. If you win twice and someone else drew once, either of the other teams, you would definitely go through. But if you win one and tiebreak one...
Well, it could be seeding and things like that.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not sure. We have to work it out, but it'll be interesting to see how Eclipse do in this group, because from what we've seen so far.
This is crazy. But there we go. AMX30, again, really high damage, nearly 3,000. That tier 9 is worth taking. Even Eurofish is doing 2,000 damage.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. Hyber, again, coming up with a big place. 2,800 damage is so good. You can see it's more spread out here. The FE was only able to do the 1,300, so really what he's looking for is a quick pick-off and like a bat shot. That's the big play, big initiation that they really want with that tank. But on steps, it's difficult to move it around a lot. So.
And the Leopard 1 only getting 1,200 because he got clicked. It was taken out by artillery. No, FE. The FE ticket,
yeah.
Sorry. It still might as well be artillery, that thing. It just came over the hill and pff, there you go. Elian's gone.
Yeah. It's something you expect every time you see it, or the artillery. You think, when is it coming? When's the big hit coming? And unfortunately for Diador, it didn't quite happen this time around. But
the opening shot we missed on him was off because we hadn't actually looked at the tanks list fully yet. We were trying to explain everything, and that massive explosion, I was like, they don't have artillery.
Yeah.
They have the FE. Yeah, it was FE. They you know, it's one of these scenarios where you've got to be looking at the caliber of gun and reloads. If you are at this level of play, you are counting this thing. You're like, okay, you got 10 seconds here, you got 5 seconds here, but let's go into the next map. Why not?
Yeah.
It's Mines.
Yeah, Mines is a very interesting map. It's a very, very, very small map, and so a lot of the battle is contested here on the hill. So it'd be interesting to see whether one team tries to take the hill or if they both brawl at the hill.
It looks like it's going to be a massive brawl on the hill as Kazna Crew and Tornado Rocks is going up there. But I'll just go through the introductions. We have Tornado Rocks in the red defending on Mines versus Kazna Crew in the blue on the offensive. And we have Elian and Stefan, the TVPs at the front, and Seven gets hit and not killed. But they're trying to go up the hill the wrong way. Is that really what they're trying to do on the right there? I can't quite see if they've succeeded or not. But yes, they did. Dino's up there, and he's trying to ambush Stefan and Elian with Dynamo on the top. But they've taken a lot of damage. Stefan goes down. That's one hell of a play by Tornado Rocks. Sneaky out the back. But the TVP gets a little bit of damage on the rear as he tries to get away. But Kazna Crew already down to 50% HP. Dino's in a great position. They lost the hill, and now everything is burning. It's a wreckage here for Kazna Crew as they were totally taken by surprise. Have you seen that maneuver before?
No, I think it's new with physics. You couldn't do that before, and now they're able to push onto the hill, very sneaky, and you can see the TVP got in there right away. And there goes Dynamo.
Yeah, on the back though, Elian's fighting off too as Diador comes. Oh wait, they're both on reload now. They're just staring at each other as Diador's though way closer on the reload, and Elian's coming off the hill. He's obviously learned how to get down on the new physics. This isn't actually as much of a disaster as we first thought as Armageddon gets picked out, but Diador's going to get the reload now, and if they don't take him out, he's going to wreck faces as Eurofist goes down. Nexus is next. Vetso is really vulnerable here to the rear shots from Diador. This answers the question. One clip or two clips, Diador wrecks it, going for Elian, boom, there goes the dynamite, Diador wins the game. Oh my god, that was a wreckage.
Wow.
4-3.
Absolutely, wow. That's incredible just to see them pull that off, and I don't think Kazna knew it was coming at all.
No.
You can see that they got the TVP there, and he was sort of there because he reloads much quicker than the Batshot. He could do the damage,
actually,
but the push up the hill.
Before you answer that, Happy Porcupine was actually asking this exact thing. Why the TVP? That's why it reloads in 20 seconds?
Oh, it's like 18. It's
yeah, exactly.
So quick. And it could, far before the Batshots ever load, they just get up there and they can clip. They can't kill them, but they can do a lot of damage quickly. Yeah. And of course, it didn't matter that he needed to be in that position. I thought it was a bit exposed. I thought the Batshots were going to kill him, but of course, the push up the hill. Yeah, I've never seen that.
Double push. It was a pincer maneuver, classic pincer maneuver, up a way they did not expect. And that's what we're going to see here at the Grand Finals. The new physics is changing everything. What a meta shift, because that was not possible before.
Yeah, feels Venus, man. I have no idea. I'm so shocked just to see that, and it's so cool. And that's the great things about patch 9.14, and we're going to see so many cool things like that. And that's just one of many, I'm sure, to come.
I'm sure, absolutely. So Wow, that was crazy. And an update on the main stage is currently 3-all there, so it seems like it's going exactly the way that this is going in a Titanic match. The next battle here is meant to be Na'Vi, so you're going to be able to watch the end of that battle for sure, because this is going to end either next battle or the battle after. You can go back and watch the main stage, and once Na'Vi off there, expect a 20-minute break probably before they go from there back to the backstage. So just to let you know how this works, obviously Na'Vi play in the main stage, they play in the next game here. There's a good chance we're going to have to wait for that game to finish before we can do the next game. So at least I get to eat.
Yeah, there you go, English. You get a break. But I mean, this is so crazy. It'll be interesting to see what Kazna do on the other side, whether they push. But if they've not seen it before, they did seem taken aback. I don't know if they've seen it. They may well have done. They may have scrimmed before and seen something like this. We'll see what they do on the flip side of this.
Yeah, the question I see there, well, how do they even get up the hill? And it's like, well, we don't actually know the exact ins and outs because we didn't know it could happen either.
No, we didn't have the camera angle, so we couldn't exactly see it. But
probably some sort of jump because of the physics.
Well, no, they would have put themselves back to back and pushed themselves up. There's no way they could jump from there. But
yeah, of course you could do it before, and it's done on many maps, but that particular position just wasn't possible before. That's what we're saying. Not that you couldn't push people before. We're not saying that. Just that we don't normally. But here we go. It's match point for Tornado Rocks. If they take this battle, they go through with 3 points to the next battle. We have Tornado Rocks on the offensive in the red on 4, and Kazna Crew on the defensive in the blue on 3. Let's look at those lineups.
Yeah, you can see here that Kazna have gone all heavy with 1-1-3s, and this is to just try and solidify. The last thing they want to lose this game, because then that's it, they've lost. They do not want to drop this game, and they've gone really heavy. They're going to try and hold the positions, allow Tornado Rocks to have the hill so long as they cannot do anything about it.
This is, yeah, a full heavy lineup is risky in itself because obviously it's not necessarily more flexible, but there you go. Vorsic takes actually quite a lot of damage on the way up. I didn't expect that. But are they going to continue pushing? Are they literally just going to drive up there and go, hey, you know what?
It's possible, yeah. You can see here that the Batshats have already done damage, and if they can split the Batshat fire, it's not enough for the 1-1-3s, and they can bounce as well.
Oh, they have to go because Vetso and Hyber are completely out, away from the rest of their team. They're going to try and focus out Armageddon, and Hyber actually is going to get it. Yes, he is. But on the hill is the main battle, and they get it. Wait a minute, they managed to take him out. Positiv's going to go down as well, and now they need to get this one tag. Vorsic, can they catch him? And Vorsic, well, maybe should run away here and actually be reversing, but no, he's like, you know what, I'm going to take you all on. Don't think it's going to work, but Yourfish behind, taking 1,391 damage, down to 1 shot. Anyone breathed on him, he's dead. This is not looking good for Kazna Crew, as they are down to 2,600 HP. Stefan is still reloading. He's trying to save Yourfish, but it's too late, and now he's going to be on his own. They do have 2 tanks, so they have these 1-1-3s. They can still do something.
Yeah, it's all on Stefan, and I think the TVP's hunting him here. Stefan has to reload and be able to do something. I think the TVP's looking for him, but he doesn't see him. He should see him now. And these guys on the hill here have to play very defensively. There's no way they can worry about any kind of push at this point.
Yeah.
So they just have to use the 1-1-3's armor
oh, no.
to try and defend. But
no,
Stefan is lit. He does have a clip. He's very low to the ground, and the TVP's much taller, but the TVP has the more accurate gun. But
and the
1-1-3 is going to...
And he misses the first shot, does not pen. He gets the second one, he does get him. He might be able to get 3 more shots off. Stefan, keep aiming. He's reloaded though, will he do it? No,
oh,
it doesn't matter.
Just in time.
He would have been killed from either way, but that was a good amount of damage. And in the meantime, they are fighting off IFC Dynamo, and they get Lucic. So
close. This
is close on HP. They're bringing about. In fact, they've taken the lead again. HP is back in the favor, but it's 3 guns against 2. However, that Batchat, where is he? Is he on reload again? No, he's not. He's at full ammo, but they're trying to catch him. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, you can see here that the 1-1-3s, this is exactly what Kazna wanted. They wanted to be able to put them in a defensive position so that Tornado Rocks can't do anything. And Diodor is now lit, so Nexus knows exactly where he is.
Get a shot on him? No, he's not
got a chance. It's so close. There's a lot of time. Tornado can put pressure on the cap. That's the best way that they can do it. They need to put this 1-1-3 on the 2 cap, which is very low hit points, and try and bait Kazna into resetting, and that's when the TVP and the Batshot will collapse.
Well, we know that we have a lot of Kazna people watching, because when we did the test earlier, I saw nothing but Kazna and Kappa. So guys, channel your Kazna. They need your help right now because the HP is nothing to do with anything right now. They need to isolate a tank, take it out. They know Dynamo's in this corner. They're going for him, but anything can go wrong with the Batchat. If he gets tracked in the open, he can get whacked.
Yeah, this is very clever. Rather than just go straight for the cap and allowing the Batchat and the TVP to converge on them, they're going for the Batchat. They know they've got enough time. It's only the 113 on the cap, so they're going to kill this Batchat. And he's now lit, so this should be it. The issue, obviously, is the speed, whether the Batchat can outrun it for too long.
Oh, and Diodor's actually supporting him. No, he's not. He's way too far away. But he's not going to get the Batchat. If he goes around this corner, he's going to get tracked and killed. This is the biggest thing.
Yeah, he has to be so careful here.
So this is not good, because now Diodor knows that he just has to regroup with the other 113.
He needs to get unlit and come from an angle that the Batchat may not expect.
Yeah, this is not good for Kazna. I don't think they played this too well. They must have known there's no way that this guy could beat the Batchat one-on-one. The other 113 needs to get back, but the TVP is going to stop him by taking the heal.
Yeah.
This is not good. They need to
so
get him.
careful.
Now, Dynamo makes the run for it. He was spotted when he did the run, so can they get him? They need to catch him in the open. The 113's coming from both directions. He's making a run, but if he gets into the open too much, the TVP will get him. Can he take the shot? He misses. That could be it. That could have been the game shots. The TVP starts opening now. The second shot's missed. One shot's there. Two fired though. Yes! Kazna crew managed to secure the hit against Dynamo. This still is anyone's game though. Watch every single shot as Dido goes down, loses a track, that loses him time, but it doesn't matter, he's on reload anyway. Nexus and the unknown player are fighting up top of this hill. I really want to know who this guy is. I can't remember their entire
he doesn't have depression, so Nexus just has to close the gap and he can't do anything about it. The worry here is the TVP. The TVP has to do so much work. It has the hit points, it has the clip, and it's all down to the TVP. This is so very close. Oh! Diodor takes a huge hit
and
from
he's
both
tracked
ends.
again. He definitely hasn't got a rapier kit, but it's up to the reload speed of the 113. He does not have it, so he gets away. Oh, lucky man. And he got all his shots off against the 113.
Yeah.
This is, again, back in it. 406 HP against 659. Diodor can actually take a hit. 485 is enough to take a hit.
Yeah, it depends on the roll. You can see here that he's tempted to...
Oh, he got him! He got
word.
him! That was a great play by the player in the 113. But he gets taken out of revenge.
Oh,
but Diodor has a hell of an advantage here because a low roll by Nexus means that he's not going to get the shot. Can he get it? He survived! He's on 1 HP!
Oh
no,
my
sorry,
word.
7 HP. That was so close. It's gone to Tornado Rocks. He's taken the match.